I thought I've been done cable managing my build, only to go ahead and realize that very soon after I have to rip everything out and redo it. So let's see what happened here with the Taito Type X3 and how I fixed it.
Knock, knock.
Welcome home, baby. I say this to all of your things, for this is a robbery.
Nobody move!
Yeah, we'll see you guys
Stop
later.
moving.
They're gone, man.
Welcome to Ignignot. So I went ahead and was intending on making this, what is this, part 4? I think it's part 4 of my Vewlix build officially. I had like a little mini episode like a week ago showing off the Brook adapter being directly tied to the control panel. But part 4 was supposed to basically be, look how buttoned up and beautiful my Vewlix Diamond Black is, and isn't it so pretty? I was going to show you how everything hooked up. I have everything color coded, even more so than last time, and I had every machine in there. Xbox 360, the RGH3 model, which I do need to go over, by the way, because I completely had to fucking redo that shit. That's next episode. The PC, the Phantom Canyon PC, the Type X3, and the Namco 246. Everything was looking great. Until I tried to turn on the Taito. Okay, so when I got this, it was just showing the Taito Type X3 logo and doing one single beep. Short beep. It would do this over and over and over again until it just killed itself and then rebooted, and it would just do this on loop. Long story short, guy who I bought this from, he said that he had updated the BIOS so that I could have a modern day GPU in here. Mine is the Zotac single fan 1060. Wasn't booting because of that. I took out the GPU after futzing with the RAM, thinking maybe it was a RAM issue at first. Some other people on a forum said that I had to reseat the CPU. All that was bullshit. Long story short, I just put the 660 back in there and it booted just fine, which was great at first, but you know, obviously I want the 1060 to work. So what I ended up doing, I went to check current BIOS version. It should say version 1.0B23. Mine was not that. I think it was 16, which is the one right before this. It does not give you graphics card support. I'm gonna go ahead and show you a quick video, maybe as I talk over it, of the process and how to go ahead and update your BIOS. It's a little scary because several different times it basically tells you how big of a risk you're taking and how even if you follow the steps and even if it shows everything just fine, it can fuck everything up. Long story short, thankfully I got through. It updated just fine, and once I did that, I was able to go ahead and put the GTX 1060 in and it booted. So you're probably thinking, okay, great, you know, we're all done here now. I can go ahead and play some games. No. The next thing I realized is there was some display issues. It turns out every single time that you go ahead and install a GPU, you're going to go ahead and have some weird display issues. What you want to go ahead and do is go into NVIDIA control panel here. And basically what you want to do is go to adjust desktop size and position. And you want to set this perform scaling to GPU. You do that and you're basically good to go. Unfortunately, there is no way to get to the task bar on the bottom. There's no way to get to the start menu. Anything that you might want to be able to get into, you have prompts for here. Now, Explorer is basically as much of the Windows as you're gonna get. It's essentially just that. You have the File Explorer. From there, you can go ahead and go into your hard drives. You can go into your main C drive. You can go into the emulator, SSD. You can install applications and whatnot. But again, anything through the start menu you can't do. Anything outside that menu is hidden. So if you have something that likes to auto hide itself, good luck. Because if it's something that sits in the task panel and you have to click on the little icon on the bottom right where your clock is and shit, you're never gonna see it again. So the next thing I had to deal with was the controls. You see, the controls on my Vewlix are directly going into a Brook UFB, Universal Fighting Board. And this thing is made to work for JVS or just through the Fast IO. What you want to go ahead and get is an application called Joy2key. Unfortunately, your controls, if you're using a Brook adapter, will maybe partially work. I can obviously go left and right with my joystick. However, properly scrolling through these menus, which should be done with button 2 and 3 on the top there, doesn't quite work. And on mine, stock, it's this button and this button respectively, which is not ideal. Because if you go into a game, obviously you're not going to have the punches up here and the kicks down here. It's going to be some sort of weird crap, and then obviously your start button's not going to work, and coin button and everything else. So what do you want to go ahead and do? Make sure that you have something like this or just a traditional keyboard mouse hooked up, and you want to go ahead and go into Explorer. Now after you boot up, every single time, basically what you want to do, for me, this is in here, you will need to install this and get it set up, but I'll walk you through it really quick. Long story short, you click on that. Now if you move your joystick or hit your buttons, it will show you what button you're pressing, which is convenient. So basically what you want to do, find the button that you'd like to hit. Okay, scroll all the way down, click on it, hit edit button assignment, and then enter the character that you want to correlate it with the keyboard. Easy. And if you're wondering what the buttons are for the keyboard, if you haven't been able to figure it out on your own, it's pretty simple. So you have Q is light punch, W is medium punch, E is heavy punch. As you can figure out, A is light kick, S is medium kick, D is heavy kick. I also have the start button as player 1 start, which is the number 1. This button here I have as my coin key, which is number 5. And then my orange button is to essentially escape and get out of the game and go back to the main menu, which is escape. Now the only other key that you'll need essentially is to go into things like dip switch settings or something akin to that, and that would be the tab button. However, unfortunately, you can't go ahead and sync your tab key to a button. I don't know why. I'm assuming it's because it's something that's tied to the function of Windows, so they don't allow you to do that. Once this is up, now keep in mind, if you click on any of this black space, see how my cursor goes away? It's like it doesn't exist. It's because the start menu, task menu, all that type of stuff does not exist. If you have an application that likes to auto minimize, you're screwed. So what you want to do, make sure you go to Settings, Preferences. First off, if you want to get rid of all lag, set it to X16 processing speed. If you don't do that, you're going to get some lag in your controls, and that's not going to feel too good. The other thing that I want you to do is to make sure that all this stuff under minimize is checked off. Because if this minimizes, basically what this is supposed to do is go down into your little control panel where your icons would be next to the clock. And then in order to bring up this menu again, you click on that icon and then it pops this back up. However, since you don't have access to that, there's no way to grab it back up. So the first time I installed this, it worked just fine. However, when I wanted to go back in, the next time I booted it up and activate it, I couldn't. But if you find yourself in this situation, it's pretty easy, because at first I was getting panicked because I would uninstall the application, right? And then I would go ahead and reinstall it, and yet it would still, when I clicked on Joy2key.exe, it would still not bring up the menu. It's like it saved that option. Well, it's because it did. And essentially what it does is, despite the fact that you've quote-unquote uninstalled, it puts a folder within Documents And there's Joy2key. And within there are your configuration files and log files. If this folder is not deleted, you're screwed. So if you do find that this thing starts acting up, when you want to install, make sure you just delete that Joy2key folder within Documents and you should be good to go. When you reinstall and boot everything back up for the first time, yes, you might have to redo your controls, but just make sure that you go ahead and delete that. Then it should boot up just fine. Now, when you want to exit, clicking anywhere into black will send you back to the home menu. Leave this open, because if you minimize it, good luck, you're never going to see it again. At least not within this PlayStation. But if you just click out away, it goes away, but it's still technically up and running. Now, as you can see, these two buttons will cycle through my menus as they should, and now I can hop into a game. Your platform will be over here. So initially it's just general categories, then you go into Type X3, Type X2, Type X1, Ring Edge, Neo Geo, Naomi, Lindbergh, some Laserdisc games, and so on and so forth. So if we wanted to play, say, Street Fighter 3, you would just hit Start, hit Yes. Yes, this crap will be here, but then the game loads, right? Now you can edit some settings, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. So we're in, right? So if you want to go ahead and edit some settings, all you have to do is hit Tab. Now, let's just say you don't like this bezel here. Now this will have to be set per game, right? But what you can do is use your joystick, go to Slider, and you can set the actual arcade view to a whole host of things here. There's different Darius screens where it's like 1/3 of the screen basically. If you go all the way to the end, there's some interesting ones here. You can have just nothing, just straight picture if you're into that. You can have these interesting bezels here that actually reflect the light from the game. So the game will actually reflect off the bezels there as if it's a real TV. Personally speaking, I don't really like the bezel too awful much. So this one here is pretty cool, LCD grid. There's a whole bunch of trippy ones. And then from here, you can go ahead and even change aspects like the colors or bloom, depending on other settings. You can set the gamma or the bloom. When you're done, just go ahead and hit previous menu, return to machine. When you're ready, go ahead and insert coin if it's a coin-based game, which is this button here for me, or if in this case it's free play, just hit the start button here. I'm doing this one-handed, so this should be interesting. When you're done, hit your home button, which acts as escape, and then you're right back to the main menu. Now you will have to do the Joy2key every single time you boot up, but otherwise you can just keep playing and play to your heart's content. You basically go through all these games either left to right or up to down, changing the pages with those two top buttons, sort F and sort B. And with the modern day graphics card, you should be able to do some of the really nicer games with no problem. You can go ahead and upgrade the CPU if you wish. However, personally, from what I've been able to hear, upgrading to the same generation i7, which is about as high up as you can go, doesn't really provide you any discernible improvement. So just stick with upgrading your GPU. Past that, another problem that I had was one time at boot, it said System Fan 2 was erroring out and wouldn't allow me to boot. The fan, when it gets like really fast in the beginning when it first boots, at least this one, tends to expand, and mine got caught in that grill there. I actually have a Noctua fan, which will be coming in tomorrow, and I'll just simply swap those out. Not only will it be a lot quieter, but I shouldn't have this issue anymore. It looks like the tip of the fan is a little worn out. I'm assuming it's hit the grill before, and that'll alleviate all my problems. So those are all the problems that I had. I had to figure out basically all of this on my own. No one was helping me with the beep codes. No one really knew specifically what was going on. I already thought the BIOS was updated, so it took some time to figure that out. My best recommendation to you when you're first starting is to go down here and read this README. Some, not all, but some of this stuff that I talked about today is described in there. However, the stuff about Joy2key is not. Hopefully that helps you out. If you're getting frustrated by a Joy2key, that's a way to ensure that it's always up and running, always something that you can access, and always something that you can go ahead and turn on every single time you boot. Until then, I hope this helped. Next time I'm going to be going over the RGH3 Xbox Model E that I have in there, and hopefully this will be quite a bit more cleaned up versus where it is right now. Like I said, it was so pretty. It was so pretty. But anyway, you know what? At least this is working. The next thing to get working is the Namco 246, and I just got the power board conversion in today, so it'll work with a computer power supply. I haven't tested it yet. I literally just got it in the mail today. So that's probably the next big project. So I'm just happy to have this working. It's one more machine. I now have the Xbox, the Taito, and the PC working. Just one more piece of hardware, maybe a Mister in the future. But other than that, I mean, I'm basically running out of room. But I will say this, all this hardware, this, and the PC underneath there, all fits in this cab just fine. If you have a modern day PC plus this Taito, it's not gonna fit. But if you get a small form factor like mine, yeah, as long as you're creative with your cable management, again, this is not the best display of that, you can make it happen. Anyway, until next time, Ignite out.
Do what he says and say what he does. And look at this. This is ours.
That is correct. What is it? No time for an answer.